Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
The IPCC report came out a few days ago, and while we have since been constantly fighting to survive the events of the world happening all around us, the very real materializations of some IPCC predictions have already been underway. Climate news this week has once again been a constant reminder of what the future holds in store for us. China, Japan and North America are being flooded thanks to incessant extreme rains, but many parts of North America are simultaneously under drought and water scarcity, with talks of water from a river being rationed. Many parts of Europe are meanwhile continuing to break heat records, and there are also wildfires raging in many parts of the globe. There is unusually rapid intensification of cyclones and changing monsoon patterns, and the southwest monsoon is once again withdrawing later than normal in India this year for the 11th year in a row. The thawing of permafrost is now risking the integrity of the Trans-Alaska pipeline, increasing the chances of an oil spill, and UNICEF released a report saying half the world's 2.2 billion children are at an extremely high risk of adverse effects from climate change and air pollution. All of this has just been in the 1 week since the IPCC report came out. But in this video, we're going to talk about something different and something that happened which is extremely unusual, alarming, and a major sign of things to come. It rained on Greenland, like a lot. And this has never happened before in Greenland. There are no rains in the Arctic. Here it only snows, and rainfall was observed at the tallest summit of Greenland. Temperatures here are well below freezing, but it rained for 3 hot days. How did this happen? What happened after it rained? And now are we to expect more rains over Greenland regularly? I'm Sandhya Ramesh, and this is Pure Science. The first thing that happened when it rained was that the authorities who saw the rainfall realized they had no instruments to measure precipitation because it is so unexpected in this part of the world. The rain was seen by scientists at the US National Science Foundation's Summit Station at an exact height of 3,216 meters or 10,551 feet above sea level. This is the tallest place in Greenland, and it is often said to be the coldest place in the Northern Hemisphere. The rainfall started here on the 14th, and about 7 billion tons of water fell on the country. It occurred during a time when temperatures were soaring, and some parts of Greenland were nearly 18 degrees Celsius warmer than their average temperatures. Greenland is large and frigid. In 1991, the lowest ever temperature was recorded, and it reached a minus 69.6 degrees Celsius. Rain hasn't been seen at this summit ever in recorded history, and this rainfall will leave its mark on the ice. When we extract ice samples or ice cores, we can see layers of melted ice wherever there has been large-scale melt events or rainfall. Previous ice core readings have suggested that such melting events have occurred every 250 years or so. We know this especially from the GISP-2 ice core. The Greenland Ice Sheet Project was a 10-year-long international project to drill ice core samples from Greenland. It started in the 70s and was over in the 80s. Analysis of the extracted cores continued on for years, and the GISP-2 core was used in a number of research papers on climate and climate change in the 90s, and information from this core formed some of our earliest understanding of global climate history. In the core, while until 1950s warming or melting events were observed only every 250 years, now melting events have been observed in 1995, 2012, 2019 and now in 2021. Now this month, when it rained in Greenland, the air temperature was above zero for about 9 hours. And this is the third time just in the past 10 years that there has been above freezing temperatures here at the highest point on the Greenland ice sheet. There were a few abnormal or unusual weather phenomena at play during this period of unusual heating this month. There was a heat wave over Europe and warm conditions in the Arctic. There was a low pressure center over Baffin Island and high pressure in the south and southeast of Greenland. Together, this pushed warm air and moisture upwards in the north direction. This moist and warm air covered the surface of Greenland in a phenomenon known as an anticyclone. The high pressure causes air to sink in an anticyclone, and as the air rushes down, it gets warm. Such conditions enable warm pockets of air to persist over a geographical location for an extended period of time. This above freezing temperatures and rainfall were most prevalent in the southwest parts of Greenland, and rain occurred on August 14th and August 15th. Greenland has been a very valuable resource in understanding climate change. 2 ice cores that were 3 kilometers long were obtained in the early 90s and have also been instrumental in understanding the climate change record of the Northern Hemisphere going back almost 100,000 years. The effects of global heating have been increasingly obvious on the Greenland ice sheet. In July of this year, it saw a massive large-scale melting event where an all-time high of 19.8 degrees Celsius caused over 8.5 billion tons of ice to melt from the surface of the ice sheet in just one day. And the previous day, 8.4 billion tons of ice had melted. And this isn't just at the periphery or near the waters. The melting is also occurring in the interior of the ice sheet, and the total ice lost was equal to twice the typical ice loss during this season. The ice sheet melting every summer is not new. Between June and August, there is melting, but the amount of ice melting and the rate at which it is occurring is extremely rapid and very alarming. If all of the ice covering Greenland melts, sea levels will rise about 7.2 meters globally. This, of course, isn't likely to happen anytime soon, but we have already crossed a tipping point. Meltwater from Greenland is expected to raise global sea levels by over 30 centimeters already by the end of this century, likely more, and sea levels have already risen by about 20 centimeters since the pre-industrial times. Greenland's ice is melting at a rate quicker than anything it has experienced in over 12,000 years. The ice is now melting at a rate of 1 million tons a minute. There is also increased growth of algae on ice, which is darker and hence is accelerating ice loss by absorbing heat. As of last year, satellite observations have indicated that both Greenland and Antarctica are losing ice 6 times faster than they did in the 90s, and right now they are on track to be in the worst case IPCC projection scenario. Both in July this year when the large-scale melting occurred and now in August when the rainfall occurred during a heat wave, the local weather phenomena at play was similar. These are extreme weather phenomena, and such extreme weather events are only expected to occur more frequently going forward.